Sakura Kageyoshi.
I love Bleach. I've read every volume of the manga, I watched the anime as it aired on Adult Swim every Saturday night, and I played the hell out of Soul Resurrection, one of my favorite games for the PS3. Well, that game was released over a decade ago. But here we are today, 2 console generations later, with a brand new Bleach game.
Excellent! That's what I've been waiting for!
So, this video is coming to you from a fan's perspective. It's sort of a review by a fan and for fans of Bleach. With that said, be warned that there may be spoilers up to the end of what is mostly known in the fandom as the fake Karakura Town arc, so just be aware of that in case you aren't caught up. By the way, stick around to the end of the video for some bonus content, as I have something to kind of share with you in regards to my Bleach fandom. Something I own actually got me into Shonen Jump magazine once. It's pretty cool. More on that at the end. By the way, I played this on a PS4, so all impressions and footage are from that version. Bleach Rebirth of Souls. So what exactly is this game? Well, it's definitely a Bleach game made with Bleach fans in mind. And before you think, duh, what I mean is that so many aspects of this game were made with such reverence and respect for the source material. I think it's best to just show you some of the animations from this game.
This is my holification!
Even if I have to turn your body to dust. Lanza del Redamparo.
Grind!
Did you catch that? They are direct references to panels from the manga. And that's just a small glimpse of the attention to detail that's prevalent throughout this game. Let's call that pure fan service, because that's really the only term that I can think of that properly explains what this is. Neither the casual gamer nor critics would recognize or appreciate these details. And this is where some people have kind of missed the point. There seems to be a general misconception that the secret stories are some sort of skippable side content. But actually, after experiencing the secret stories for myself, I can tell you that it's like accessing a director's cut of Bleach. There's expanded dialogue. You're able to experience some key moments from the antagonist's perspective. There are encounters between characters who have never interacted with each other in neither the manga nor the anime. There are even some fantasy booking level dream matchups in these secret stories.
Fight me, Hallibell!
And the best thing about these secret stories is that they all seem to be lore accurate. I wouldn't be surprised if the original author, Tite Kubo, had a hand in writing these stories. Nothing felt out of place or out of character. So don't sleep on this mode. And trust me, you'll want to play through Aizen's secret stories. No spoilers, just do it. I know we started with the secret stories, but let's take a step back and look at the main story mode. Overall, I did enjoy revisiting the story in video game form. When it's done well, as it is with the manga and the anime, Bleach is absolute cinema.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Absolute cinema. But while the main story does shine where it needs to, it also falters at times. Certain characters are missing. For example, aside from this gorgeous cinematic, only 3 of the 8 Vizards appear in the game. And sometimes the game is also awkwardly censored. Bleach is actually pretty violent at times, and while we should be accustomed to some level of censorship as it's present in the TV series, in the game you'll see a yellow visual flash instead of a splatter of blood. It really didn't bother me that much, but it is worth noting. There also seem to be missing animations for certain scenes. The scene in which Ulquiorra is supposed to remove his eye to report what he saw in the world of the living, as that's one of his abilities, this simply doesn't happen in the game. The cinematics, on the other hand, are a work of art, usually utilized for backstories or events that weren't in the game for one reason or another. These are always a visual treat. That and the handful of credit sequences in between story arcs that nail the trademark Bleach style, those are really cool too. Now, let's get into the gameplay. Just so we're on the same page, this is where I'm approaching this topic from. I love fighting games, but I'll usually play them for the single player experience. I rarely play online multiplayer modes, so I won't be delving into that. Anyway, the focus of this video was to examine the game from a Bleach fan's perspective and not a fighting game player's perspective. With that said, the gameplay is packed to the brim with details that remain faithful to the source material. Certain characters can come back to life after they've been defeated, just as they do in the manga and the anime. Some characters can call on their allies to help them in the midst of battle. And speaking of attention to detail, for Zailaporo, whose finisher involves creating a sort of voodoo doll, they actually made doll assets for every character in the game. Here are a few of my favorites. There are even some unique finishers that are only possible between certain characters for story reasons.
I was mistaken.
What did I tell you? Pure fan service. So for a quick recap, Secret Stories is like watching a director's cut of Bleach. The main story is kind of a mixed bag, but a fun way to revisit the story arcs. And the gameplay is chock full of references to the source material. It's a must-play for any Bleach fan. Because from one Bleach fan to another, I'm here to tell you that this game, this thing resting in the palm of my hand, is heart. You've been listening to Brian of FaceTime Police. We're a band and we do a lot of variety content. This is Rambo. Thanks for watching. Oh yeah, here's the bonus thing that I mentioned that I wanted to geek out over and share with other Bleach fans. The item that I own that got me into Shonen Jump magazine once is my Bleach manga keyboard. I have a keyboard adorned with Bleach manga panels. Don't worry, I have extra copies. That was featured in a fan spotlight issue of Shonen Jump magazine, which is still one of the coolest things that has ever happened to me, by the way. Also, on the topic of music and Bleach-inspired stuff, my brother and I wear broken white masks for our band, partly because I love the broken white masks of the Arancars and the Espadas. And our song Den of Sharks was actually inspired by Halibel because sharks and the sea are kind of part of her motif, and I just loved all of that. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time.